All right, hello everyone. So we are coming into our last week of workshops this week, and you might be thinking about revising your essay that you're going to be turning in for part of the final portfolio. So the cohorts got different amounts of time talking about revision strategies. I know one group talked a lot about it, another group spent more time talking about the reading that week, and that's okay, but I thought I would share here just some stuff that I've heard of, think might be potentially useful in thinking about revision. So remember to take this all with a major grain of salt. My approach to revision is to pretty much just scrap it all and do everything over again. And maybe that's not your approach. There aren't general rules. What works for someone else might not work for you. There aren't right answers. But this is something that has been useful for me in thinking about revision. So thinking of it as revision, a two-part word. So re-seeing, seeing a piece again for all its possibilities. Revision as reimagining. So nothing has to be set in stone. It can all be changed or shifted. And that doesn't mean the events. This is nonfiction, so it's limited to what's true, as we've talked about, but the way of writing. So what you choose to put in, what you choose to leave out, the order, the organization, the level of reflection or research, all that stuff can change. So I kind of think of it like this. I think of revision and reimagining in this way. So imagine you are talking to a therapist, a really interested new friend. You're pressed to describe someone close to you and important to you. So you tell a story about your best friend since high school. I might tell this story. I went to the beach with this best friend. We're out swimming in the water. I'm just about half drowned. I haven't gone in the ocean since like 2008. She's having a great time. She's like, oh, let's swim over to another beach. Aren't you having such a good time? So there are two possible responses if I tell that story. So one possible response is someone says, oh, so she's a little bit oblivious, but she just wants everybody to be having a good time. She's real fun to hang out with. And I would say, yeah, that's basically what I was going for with that story. The other possible response, though, is that someone says, oh, wow, so she doesn't care about anyone's feelings at all. And I'd be like, no, that's not really what I meant anyone to take away from that story. So if it's that former, yeah, you get the point. I know I'm on the right track. And if it's the latter, I know I need to do something else. And that's kind of the equivalent of what you're getting from workshops. So was the class's response, did they kind of understand what you were going for? Was what you were intending to be what came across, what your readers took away from it? Or were your readers taking away something else? Were they confused? Was something not quite matched up? So if it's this former point, where people generally kind of got what you were going for, you're happy with the response, you might make some changes. You might add a scene, turn a summary into a scene, add some description, rearrange the story, but keep a lot of what you have. If it's this latter version, and it did not go how you wanted it to, you might reimagine a little bit more. You might change tacks in your essay. So I wrote an essay once about inheriting my grandmother's furniture, and it bored the class almost to tears. So in revision, I might need to make some big, substantial changes there. I might choose to write about some other element of our relationship if I want to write about my grandmother and just scrap the furniture. Or if I want to write about inheritance, I might focus on that idea rather than the relationship. So it doesn't necessarily have to be your original intent. It can be what becomes important. You can make changes based on kind of what you're feeling is becoming important, where the essay wants to go. So there's all kinds of things you can do. You can put scenes on index cards and move them around. You can add research, do braided sections, so alternating back and forth between two stories, between research and a story. You can put it in a letter form, in a list. You can start earlier, you can start later. You can make a frame story. You can think about, and this is important in nonfiction, complications, right? So maybe a way to get deeper into the essay is just thinking about the point of view of other characters, thinking about contradictions or implications of ideas that are in there. So there are some links in the notes to some craft essays, some websites that might be useful. Something you could just try thinking like a poet. So when poets are revising, they might try a radical revision that involves making the last line the first line, just flipping the whole thing. So revision, when you're thinking in these terms of just trying stuff out and seeing what you can learn from it, could be about discovering those new connections. So let me know if you want another set of eyes on a draft, you want to set up a time to meet about your piece any further, and I'm looking forward to reading your revisions. Bye.